Ever wondered about an empire that stretched across continents, built roads that still exist today, and shaped the very foundations of Western civilization? Today, we're diving deep into the epic story of the Roman Empire, from its legendary beginnings to its dramatic fall. So grab your popcorn because this is a tale of ambition, power, and legacy that rivals any Hollywood blockbuster. Let's start at the beginning. The story of Rome doesn't begin with a mighty empire, but with a small city-state on the Italian peninsula. According to legend, it was founded in 753 BC by two brothers, Romulus and Remus, who were raised by a she-wolf. While that story is likely a myth, the reality is just as fascinating. For nearly 500 years, Rome was a republic, governed by elected senators. It was a time of constant struggle and expansion. Through a series of brutal wars, most famously the Punic Wars against their great rival, Carthage, Rome conquered its neighbors and began to dominate the Mediterranean. This period gave us legendary figures like Hannibal, who famously crossed the Alps with elephants, and Scipio Africanus, the Roman general who finally defeated him. But with great power came great internal conflict. The Republic was torn apart by civil wars fought by ambitious generals like Julius Caesar, Pompey, and Mark Antony. Caesar's rise was meteoric. He conquered Gaul, modern-day France, and famously crossed the Rubicon River, declaring war on the Senate. His assassination on the Ides of March in 44 BC plunged Rome back into chaos. From these ashes, a new leader emerged, Caesar's adopted son, Octavian. After defeating his rivals, Mark Antony and Cleopatra, Octavian was given the title Augustus in 27 BC, becoming the very first Roman emperor. This moment marks the end of the Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. Under Augustus, the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, began. This was a remarkable 200-year period of relative stability and prosperity. The empire wasn't just about conquering. It was about building. The Romans were master engineers. They constructed incredible aqueducts that carried fresh water for miles into bustling cities, some of which are still standing. They built over 50,000 miles of paved roads, connecting the vast empire and allowing armies, goods, and ideas to travel at unprecedented speeds. Phrases like "all roads lead to Rome" weren't just a saying, they were a reality. Cities across the empire boasted impressive public buildings, temples, bathhouses, and of course massive amphitheaters like the Colosseum in Rome, where gladiators fought for the entertainment of the crowds. So, just how big was the Roman Empire at its peak? Under Emperor Trajan in 117 AD, it reached its greatest extent. Imagine an empire stretching from the misty hills of Britain in the northwest, down through Spain and France, across all of Italy, Greece and Turkey. It controlled the entire coastline of the Mediterranean Sea, which they called Mare Nostrum, our sea. Its reach extended into North Africa, including Egypt, and pushed east into Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. We're talking about an area of roughly 5 million square kilometers, with an estimated population of 50 to 90 million people. That's about a quarter of the world's entire population at the time. To manage this colossal territory, the Romans established provinces, each governed by a Roman official, and maintained a powerful, professional army organized into legions. Roman law, language, and culture spread throughout these lands, creating a shared identity that unified this diverse population. Latin, the language of the Romans, became the foundation for modern languages like Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese. For centuries, Rome seemed invincible, but no empire lasts forever. The decline of Rome wasn't a single event, but a long, slow process that historians call the crisis of the 3rd century. The problems were coming from all sides. Economically, the empire was struggling with rampant inflation. The constant wars were incredibly expensive, and the emperors kept devaluing their currency. The silver coins soon contained very little actual silver. Trade was disrupted, and heavy taxes were crushing the population. Politically, the empire became dangerously unstable. The system for choosing a new emperor was flawed. It often came down to who had the strongest army, leading to a century of civil wars. In one 50-year period, there were more than 20 different emperors, most of whom were assassinated. This constant turmoil weakened the central government and made it difficult to respond to external threats. And those threats were growing. Along its long borders, the empire faced increasing pressure from various groups the Romans collectively called barbarians, tribes like the Goths. Vandals and Franks began staging raids and eventually full-scale invasions into Roman territory. The once mighty Roman legions were stretched thin, fighting on multiple fronts. To cope, the empire started hiring foreign mercenaries into its army. But these soldiers often had little loyalty to Rome and could turn on their employers. In an attempt to manage the unwieldy empire, Emperor Diocletian made a radical decision in 285 AD. He split it in two. There would be a Western Roman Empire, with its capital shifting between cities like Rome and Ravenna, and an Eastern Roman Empire with a new capital called Constantinople, built on the site of the old Greek city of Byzantium. For a while, this seemed to work. The Eastern Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, was wealthier, more urbanized, and easier to defend. It would go on to survive for another 1,000 years. But the Western Empire's fate was far grimmer. The internal problems continued to fester, and the external pressures became unbearable. The year 410 AD was a massive psychological blow. For the first time in 800 years, the city of Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths. The Vandals later sacked it again in 455. The final nail in the coffin came in 476 AD, the last Western Roman emperor. A young boy, ironically named Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. Odoacer didn't bother to name a new emperor. He simply declared himself king of Italy. And just like that, after over 1,200 years of history, the Western Roman Empire was no more. So what is the legacy of Rome? It's everywhere. It's in our languages, our legal systems, which are based on principles of Roman law, and our architecture with its arches and domes. The idea of a republic, the concept of a senate, the very letters of the alphabet you're reading right now all have deep roots in Roman civilization. The Roman Empire may have fallen, but its influence never truly died. It set the stage for the Middle Ages, shaped the growth of Christianity, and provided a blueprint for countless kingdoms and empires that followed. The story of Rome is a powerful reminder of how civilizations rise, the incredible things they can achieve, and the complex forces that can bring even the mightiest empires to their knees. Thanks for joining us on this journey through ancient Rome. If you found this as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what historical topic you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.